Does anyone have a question? You know, I spoke this afternoon about the fact that the answers that we're all searching for, and we want to motivate ourselves and to live a spiritual life, the answers are very simple. I mean, it comes down to a basic reality. What do people want? They want to be happy people. They want to have joy and love in their life, and this is not a terribly difficult thing to comprehend, but it's a difficult thing to attain. And the only reason it's a difficult thing to attain, we're up against one person. I say this a lot, but it's true. We're up against ourselves. Each and every one of us sets up all the blocks, all the obstacles, everything, to keep us from having a spiritual life. We like to blame the external world, but, the external world is literally a mirror image of the reality that we see. And if we change the reality inside ourselves, the external world is going to change. So the real block, the real problem is not outside ourselves, it's internally, that we need to get free of the one person who keeps us from becoming spiritually enlightened, and that's ourselves. So we go to teachers, we go to, half the time not even knowing why we go to gurus and swamis and this one and that one, and supposedly the teacher is supposed to show us how to use the tools that are available to a human being to get past themselves, to learn how to get free of themselves. And, I can only say that I have infinite gratitude in my heart for the day that I met Rudy, because that was the essence of what he taught, how to get free of yourself, how to use this double breathing exercise, which, he really developed, and how to use it to open in such a profound way inside yourself that one literally becomes a vehicle for higher energy in the universe. The answers are simple, but the mind gets in the way, and emotions get in the way, and sexual energy gets in the way and complicates everything. So we need to learn to master those energies. We need to learn how to use the mind in a conscious way, so that the mind begins to build the very core, the foundation of our being, by being focused in the chakra below the navel. We need to learn to use the heart in a conscious way. And what does that mean? It means we need to really, truly have gratitude for our lives. Gratitude for whatever the universe has given us, the good, the bad, the indifferent, whatever it is, it came to teach us something about ourselves so that we can grow and develop a deeper connection with higher energy in the universe. All of it is simple. And yet human beings are masters at complicating everything. Masters at, really developing endless, blocks and tensions and ideas and thoughts of right and wrong, et cetera, and creating a polar universe, creating a universe that is endlessly in conflict, where everything is in conflict with everything else. But ultimately it gets down to a simple reality: God is love. And in order to experience the love of higher energy, one has to begin to work with themselves, with one's own self-worth, who we are, what we are as human beings, accepting our limitations and using them to grow instead of allowing them to defeat us. All of this is full of wonderment. All of it is teacher. It's just the endless ways that the universe or God or whatever you want to call it has to teach us about ourselves and what we need to do to grow. It's too easy to blame other people, too easy to find fault in the world, because there's so much fault in the world that it doesn't take a remarkable person to see it. It takes an amazing person to say, okay, I'm going to fix my internal life. I'm going to fix the world. First, I have to fix my internal life. And that takes time, it takes work, it takes tremendous effort, patience with oneself, and a consistency of doing it. Nobody's going to do this if they sit down and meditate every 2 weeks, you know? Yeah, you might calm yourself a little bit, but you can take a hot bath and do the same thing, you know? And it takes a consistency of work, consistency of effort to truly plummet the depths of one's inner life. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? I mean, this is all important stuff, and stuff that, you know, we as human beings have to come to terms with. And it's not stuff I talk about because I read about it in books. It's stuff I talk about because I went through the living experience of how to find this kind of reality in my own life. I saw Rudy go through that living experience to find that reality in his life. And to me, that was one of the greatest things. I mean, it was such a great education to watch the way he dealt with everything, transforming it, using it to grow. It was his teacher. It wasn't his enemy. It was showing him about himself. I mean, he used to, you know, I mean, I'll never forget, he said, I couldn't pay a therapist, you know, $1,000 an hour to point out the things that are wrong with me that my mother does for nothing. I'll never forget. It's true, you know, you have a mother, and what do? They point out everything wrong with you, you know? I mean, it's really true. And I used to laugh, but it was such a profound realization, and how to use this as a way to grow instead of as a way to defeat himself. We're getting into big fights with his mother because she didn't like what she said about him. You know, all right, okay, there's something wrong, you know, okay, I'll fix it. I'll change myself. Thank you, Mom. I'll change myself. Does anyone else have a question? Or does anyone have a question? We hadn't gotten to anyone else yet.
Stuart, could you talk about humility, please?
About who? Humility?
Humility, yes.
I didn't get that word. Melody?
Humility.
Humility. Yeah, you know, look, you know, I cannot stress the importance of learning profound humility, learning to defer to life, learning to defer to other people, learning to defer to your teachers, learning to defer to everything that can possibly teach you how to grow in your life. It requires learning how to listen instead of knowing better and being right, which is one of the great, you know, pitfalls of almost all human experience. Learning how to listen, learning how to accept the fact that there's a much bigger energy in the universe than one's mind and one's emotions. and learning how to open to it. Well, this requires humility. It requires a sense of gratitude in oneself, a sense of truly being open, to what is constantly being taught one. If we're capable of bowing to life, sitting in front of life, being humble. I mean, I've said it a million times, I'll say it again. I was sitting in a lecture with a Swami, and Rudy was sitting right behind me. And the Swami was talking about how if you want to get your enlightenment, you have to worship the Guru. The Guru is God. And he went on for an hour. The Guru is God. The Guru is God. Endlessly, the Guru. And Rudy whispered in my ear, he said, the Guru at best is the servant of God and the servant of his students. At best, it's the highest position a teacher can reach on the earth. Now, to reach a position like that, there has to be profound humility. One can't walk around knowing better than everybody else. There has to be humility. Without that humility, the heart doesn't open. There's no love. There's nothing of the nature that is essential to having a spiritual life. Now, we live in a world where everybody has a tendency of wanting to be right, wanting to know better. You can barely talk to some people before, right off the tops of their head, they have the answer. And to me, that's just stupid. People don't listen. They know better. And knowing better does one thing, it justifies their ego. And it gives them a sense of false security. So humility is a very important element in the development of just as a human being, forget about a spiritual life. Not having to know better than everybody else. Is there anybody more difficult to be around than somebody that's right all the time? There's nobody. They drive you crazy. I remember Rudy told me he would rather be wrong than right. At least if he's wrong, he can learn something. He would have to have humility, and defer to other people and other situations to teach him how to grow in his life. Does anyone else have a question I would like to ask?
Stuart, could you say a little more about using the world as a mirror? You brought that up just before. How to do that, how to take advantage of that opportunity.
Well, years ago, I came to the realization, Wendy, that everything I see outside myself is just a reflection of me. Each and every human being sees their own unique reality. Everybody is trying to fit everybody else into their reality. Instead of looking out at the world and saying, oh, I'm angry because I realize the world is just showing you that there's anger inside you. And recognizing, and I always used to kid around, I used to say, if you have a pimple on your nose, you don't put the salve on the mirror. You go to the source of the problem. The source of the problem is inside ourselves. And it's a really big problem that 99% of the human beings alive are trying to fix the external world instead of fixing their inner life. If they would fix their inner lives, the external world would find harmony and balance. So we have to look out at the world and recognize it reflects us. Your reality is different than my reality. You see the world differently. That doesn't bother me. I love that because then I can learn from you. You understand? And you will show me things that are missing in myself. that I need to develop. And to approach every human being that way is an amazing, way of seeing life. Because what we see just reflects us. And then life itself becomes the guru. Not Swami Stuart and Yogi this one. And, my job is not to be a Swami or a yogi or a guru or any of this stuff. It's just to help people build a system in themselves where they can look out and see the real guru, the real teacher, which is life being reflecting their inner life, the external world, the world itself reflecting their inner life. And in order to do this, I'll repeat over and over again, you have to develop a chakra system that's capable of doing this. You can think about it. It could be an idea in your head. It's not going to work. The chakra system has to be highly developed, highly refined. Your tension, you have to have the ability to transform your tension into chi, into love, to harmony, balance. And the external world begins to reflect that. And it'll constantly tell you what you got to work on in yourself. And it teaches one, it's a step-by-step process of consciousness unfolding in ourselves. That takes time, patience. And I hate to say it, it might chase you all out of here. It takes a lifetime. It takes a lifetime of conscious and continuous transformation of tension and this and into love, into balance, harmony. And what's really amazing about all of this, we all can do it. We have all the tools. We have everything necessary that can allow this to happen. We just have to use them consciously. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, then there'll be a meditation again tomorrow evening, same time. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all there. God bless you for being here. I say this every night, but it's really true. I am so grateful to come here and see all of you sitting here from all over the world, from Australia and Brazil and all over the United States, and this afternoon from Norway and Israel. And it's unbelievable, And I'm so grateful. Not that I'm a teacher and I have all these students and disciples, that's nonsense to me, but that every person that attends these classes affords me an opportunity to grow in my life. And I can't tell you the gratitude I have for that. So bless you all, and thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow, hopefully.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
God bless you all.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night, Stuart. Thank you.
Stuart, good night.